he didn't play for the team. Why is he acting like he played for the team?
In the finals.
Wow.
I saw it. I looked through the code.
You're like, yeah, I'm going to say something back to the teacher.
Yeah.
And you're just like, okay.
He says it from this out of the corner of it like a ventriloquist.
The very, very corner.
It sneaks out of there. It sneaks out of there. I'm rooting for Grant Williams. I see a lot of myself in him. Just a guy trying to get by.
Somewhere in Brooklyn.
Jason.
Yeah.
I wanted to update you. I have decided I'm going to watch every Star Wars thing. Out of pettiness to you for messing with me about it.
All right. Well, long journey ahead, but I'm delighted that you're on this journey.
I'm going to watch every single Star Wars thing. So I started it this weekend or last weekend with The Force Awakens.
Okay.
I made it 4 minutes in, and then I turned it off and I started rewatching Rounders. Okay. So I'm 4 minutes into my Star Wars journey.
Awesome.
Seems good.
How far did you get?
Seems fun.
How far did you get into Rounders?
I watched the whole thing. I love Rounders. Do you love Rounders?
I do actually love Rounders. Big time.
I was curious if you are, we've never talked about this ever in all of our conversations we've had, but I was curious if you're a gambler. Do you gamble money on things? I
will occasionally, when in Vegas, gamble a little bit, like to hang out with friends. We'll hang out at the blackjack. If we're all sitting at blackjack, I'll sit at the blackjack table. If we're playing craps, I'll play a little craps. But I don't gamble for a couple reasons. One, it's only really been recently, semi-recently, in the grand scheme that I've had discretionary funds with which to gamble, and so I've always hated the feeling of losing money, particularly when I didn't have a lot of money. And every time I lost money gambling in that period, I was like, what am I could have just bought 2 hamburgers. Like, why don't I just buy 2 hamburgers and just eat the hamburgers? And secondarily, I could say this, but Asians love to gamble. There's people in my extended family who have lost the kids' college funds gambling.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Lost.
That's what I'm talking about.
Disappeared for 2 weeks. And where were you? And turns out they were in Atlantic City, on a crazy bender. I know people like that. And so I've always been I'm just going to not get that into it.
There's a part in Rounders where Matt Damon is talking to his girlfriend. Gretchen Mol is the actor who plays her.
Yes.
He's talking to her, and she's mad that he has started gambling again. Because, the movie starts, he loses all of his money. He loses $30,000. Somewhere around there. Right. That's what he begins with. I'm sure he made some more, whatever. But he loses all of that money. And so he quits playing cards. And then Edward Norton, gets out of prison. They start playing cards again. And she gets mad at him. And he's trying to talk to her. And he says the line, "Why does this still seem like gambling to you?" Right. Because he's talking to,
right,
it's
because
it's a skill game, Joe.
It's a skill game. He's grinding it out.
It's a skill game, Joe, he says. And with regard to gambling, that has always been my philosophy. Because I don't mind gambling. I don't mind betting money on things that I know that I'm pretty good at. I play Hold'em. There's a card house here in San Antonio. I have a membership there.
Yeah.
Go there and play Hold'em. Nothing crazy. $1, $2, no limit situation. When I was in college, we played all the time. We'd go to the casino.
Wait, $1, $2 blinds, no limit bets.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right.
Right. So usually buy in with $200 or $300 and go from there.
What's the most you've lost? If you feel comfortable telling me.
$27,000.
Oh, come on.
Get the fuck out. No, that's not true. That's not true. No, you buy in with, let's say I buy in with $300.
And that's it. If you go,
if I lose, then I go home.
I see.
Then I'm done.
See, if I lose $300, I'm like, man, I could have subscribed to Stars for a couple of years. I could have
2 years.
I could have done it to AMC Plus for 2 years.
All right, you want to start the show?
Let's start the show.
All right. From Wondery, I'm going to do it like Venom.
Yeah.
From Wondery.
Yeah, there it is.
Shea Serrano.
Wow, Wow! Holy shit! And I'm Jason Concepcion.
And this is 6 trophies.
Hello! I'm Jason Concepcion, and welcome to 6 Trophies, a podcast series hosted by myself and Shea Serrano, in which we comb through all the NBA news from the past week and then had 6 pop culture themed trophies for 6 basketball related activities. This episode, the Cleveland Cavaliers are never going to lose. The Doc Rivers experiment in Milwaukee is ongoing. And Drake, got to get a ladder.
Tough.
All that and more. Let's hand out some trophies.
We do 2 sets of trophies, the big trophies and the little trophies. The big trophies are first. These ones are the same every week. First up, the Denzel Washington and Training Day trophy, given out to whoever it is who had the best overall performance of the week. This week's winner, the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Oh, baby.
They're going 82-0.
I was
82-0.
I'll flat out say it.
We listened to last week. You tried to poke holes in it.
I was a doubter, and they look really good. They look legit. They look great. They beat the Milwaukee Bucks last night, 116-114, with Darius Garland scoring 39 points. One of the things you really notice about this year's Cleveland Cavaliers team is Donovan Mitchell is letting other guys get into it. Darius Garland in particular.
Together.
They're sharing the ball now. Evan Mobley all of a sudden is like, hey, forget trying to turn me into a 3-point shooting guy. What if I am just use my size? And the Twin Towers, the setup with him is, and Jared Allen is just really, really, really good. They look good. I'm concerned about them. That's a good team.
Yes, I'm very excited about the Cleveland Cavaliers. They start out the season, they beat Toronto, Detroit, Washington, and you're like,
okay.
Then they beat the Knicks, and then the Lakers, and then Milwaukee has fallen apart. But they beat Orlando, they beat Milwaukee twice. The game that they should have lost was the first game that they played against Milwaukee. Mm-hmm. It had sort of crumbled in their hands at the very end of the game. Milwaukee comes back, they take the lead, they're up, and then they run. I don't know what this play is that they run for Donovan Mitchell, but they barely get the ball in bounds. He almost goes into the backcourt. He tries to do his little dribble move. He loses control of the ball. It's a falling apart. And you're like, they're not even going to get a shot off. They're down by 1. The clock's ticking away. And then Donovan Mitchell gets a hold of it, gets to his mid-range pull-up and splashes it in. And when that shot went in is when I said to myself, we might be cooking in Cleveland.
I know.
Something might be happening here.
And it's really the emergence, the thing that was bedeviling the Cleveland Cavaliers of recent seasons, last season and the season before, was the pieces didn't seem like they all fit. You weren't sure how the ball was going to move, if Mitchell and Garland could share it, if Mobley was in the right spot. All of a sudden, Evan Mobley, one of 6 players now, averaging plus 17 points, plus 8 rebounds a game, a steal and a block, and the only one in the Eastern Conference. And beyond that, the eye test, he had a play last night against the Bucks where he blocked it on one end, got the ball in transition, took it all the way down the length of the floor and dunked it. Like, he is playing with a force and an aggression, whereas I think you could argue in previous seasons, as they were having these fit problems, right, and really trying to figure out like how to have multiple bigs on the floor and multiple non-shooting pieces, like, okay, Mobley, how do we get more space for you? How do we get you to shoot? Now it's just he can just be big and be inside, and he's kind of like a scary guy now. Like just poise, using that height, using those incredibly long arms. I don't I don't like this. I don't like what Kenny Atkinson is doing.
As a Knicks fan in the Eastern Conference.
And I'll say this.
I don't like it.
The Knicks just lost. The Knicks just lost to the Rockets last night. They got literally out physical by a Rockets team. And the Knicks were playing really hard. The Knicks played really hard against the Cavs. The Cavs just, whereas in the past they would shy away from the physicality, they are like aggressive now, aggressively physical now. This looks like a different Cavs team. I'm really impressed by them.
They have a confidence in them that only comes from when you know you're good. It seems like they have proven it to themselves, and now they're going to show everybody else. Because you watch the games and you try to figure out what they're bad at, right? If you're an opposing team, what are they bad at? What can we exploit? And then you realize if we just go through just the numbers here, Jason, in the NBA, they're first in field goal percentage. They shoot the ball well. They're second in points per game. They're second in 3-point average per game. They're second in steals per game. They're second in points off percentage points off turnovers. They're third in fast break. But like every single number that they have is like in the top 5, it feels like. And I tell you what, when they get to playing, and I got my little NBA league pass on YouTube TV and the 4 games going on the screen, I got the volume. You pick one game that you want to listen to while you're watching all the other ones, and I got the volume on the Cavs game. And then come the end of the game, I'm only watching that one. I'll tell you, I'm very excited, Jason. In 2 weeks, we get Cavs Celtics,
and it's going to be good.
I can't wait.
Cleveland Cavaliers currently 4th in the league in defense, 2nd in the league in offense with a net rating of about, let's call it at 13, which is 4th best in the league. All those numbers are contender numbers. If you're top 5 in offense and defense in the league, you're a contender. I think the Cleveland, now they have to play some better competition, but 8-0 is 8-0.
They do.
And this looks like a contender. This looks like a contending team.
One thing before we move on. This is, I just want to say this out loud so that when it happens, I can go back to it and go, look,
say it, baby.
Look, I told you. I went into a beautiful mind scenarios. I've got stats and pictures all thumbtacked to the wall and taped up. I'm scribbling down on windows. I'm doing all of this stuff. Okay. The Cleveland Cavaliers start out the season 8-0. Kenny Atkinson becomes only the 3rd coach in NBA history to win his first 8 games to begin a season in the first year of coaching a new team. Right?
Wow.
It's only happened 2 times before. The 2 times that it happened before, Monty Williams did it in 2011, and Flip Saunders did it in 2006. And if we look at those 2 NBA finals, Jason, in 2006, it was the Miami Heat versus the Dallas Mavericks. The Miami Heat triumphed in that series. And if we look at 2011, that NBA Finals was the Miami Heat and the Dallas Mavericks, Jason. Wow. This year in the finals.
Wow.
I saw it. I looked through the code. This year in the finals, Jason, it's going to be the Dallas Mavericks and the Miami Heat.
Okay.
They're going to sneak in there. And I think, Jason, I'm going to fold one more piece into it.
Okay.
You joked in our first episode of the new NBA season, there was a chance that Giannis leaves. What if he goes to Miami, Jason? And that's how they end up in the finals. Jason, we might be so good at getting everything right that now we're predicting things that are going to happen. It's
almost getting scary for me now. How
it's a little scary. It's a little scary.
It's a little okay. I'm getting a little freaked out.
I want to say, and then for real, we're going to move on. Because you and I have gotten every single thing right all of the time. It is a little bit scary. Now we're predicting what's going to happen with 100% accuracy. We've got all of that happening. Meanwhile, today when we logged onto the Zoom, Zuri had his shirt on backwards by accident because he just threw it on.
This is fucking
he had his t-shirt on backwards by accident, like a 9-year-old.
This kid.
Next trophy, the Lauren Hill. That's not true. He didn't have his shirt on backwards, or maybe he did. I don't know. Zuri, was your shirt on backwards?
I'll say this: he didn't refute it.
He checked right now. He looked to see if the tag. Can I see the tag? Next trophy, the Lauryn Hill. You might win some, but you just lost one. Giving out to whoever it is who has the worst performance of the week. Oh my God, this week's winner. On the other side of it, the Milwaukee Bucks.
Gosh, folks.
Horrible. Terrible. 1-6, Jason. They won their first game of the season, and then it's been
the Milwaukee Bucks of former MVP Giannis, of multiple-time All-Star, All-NBA player Dame, currently sit 1-6 at the very bottom. The absolute bottom
last
of the
place.
Eastern Conference, 15th in the conference, and this
15th is crazy.
15th is bad after they were competitive against the Cleveland Cavaliers last night, but they lost again behind Darius Garland going crazy and dropping them to 1-6, and it looks bad, and there's been a litany of bad things happen. You have Giannis saying,
he's starting to drop the hints.
He's starting to drop the hints like, I might be somewhere else. I might get traded. We have to do something. It's not my place to figure out like what's wrong. I'm just a player. I don't know what's going wrong. Their defense has fallen off a cliff. They can't guard anybody. Poor Brook Lopez is like playing rim protection drop defense in a vacuum with absolutely no perimeter defense in front of him. Just like multiple slow-footed guards just saying, go, have a run at Brook. Brook, I hope you're okay back there. Are you good? He's doing his best, but the perimeter defense is gone. Bobby Portis's house got burglarized. Doc Rivers doesn't seem like he has any idea how to switch this up, and it's very concerning. And they're just old. They're getting old also. Like all the time, the core pieces are steadily aging. This is bad.
They were 30-13 last season when they fired Adrian Griffin. 30-13. And since then they've gone 20-29. What are you doing? You were 17 games above 500 with the other coach. Now you're 9 games below 500 with the new coach and the new player. And it's just bad. It's just bad. We go from them winning this incredible championship where Giannis strings together 4 brilliant performances, all-time clutch performances, a 50-piece to close out the finals and win a championship. And now here we are. They're in 15th place in the East.
And the defense, which was once their calling card.
That was their thing. I'll tell you who could help. You know who they should. They need like a Drew Holiday type player. That's who they need.
Don't rub it into them. I mean, this is kind of the issue, right? Is you've got the previous team was built around interlocking pieces that, for the most part, really complemented what they were trying to do with Brook anchoring the defense at the back. Now you've got all these pieces that kind of only go one way, whether it's Bobby Portis or Dame, they're only scoring really. And they're not able to provide any resistance on the defense. And it's left them down in the bottom third of the league. They're giving up 117.3 points per possession. That's real bad. That's down amongst teams like the Los Angeles Lakers, who are also going through a tailspin of their own. I don't want to put Zuri through more stuff since he's already having to look at all his clothing and see if it's on straight. But they're down in the bottom third of the league. And that used to be the thing that was, they could hang their hat on, and Doc was brought in to try and fix that. And I think you have to look and wonder, do they actually have the pieces to do that? Like, that's kind of the scary issue now, because everybody's kind of getting creaky. Chris Middleton, older. Dame on the old side, never a defender anyway. It's looking rough over here in Bucksland.
And I don't know how you fix it, because if we just look forward, they already owe their 2025, 2027, 2029 first round picks to other teams. And the Pelicans and Trailblazers have the right to swap first round picks with them in 26, 28, and 30. Like I don't know what you do here. And the ship is taken on water. You have Giannis, who before was like, I want to play my whole career with one team. And now he's like, well, you know what's better than playing with one team? Fucking winning. Yeah, that's what I want to do. He's starting to do that. He had a quote. He had a quote after they lost on Saturday where he was talking about he doesn't focus on the results. He's like, I worry about this, I worry about that. And part of the quote, this is what he said. He said, quote, I can't control the outcome of the game. And I would argue that that's sort of your whole job. As the superstar player, you're supposed to control the outcome
I would quibble with it as well, but let him cook.
I can't control the outcome of the game. I can control the things that happen within the game, and you hope the outcome is what you like. And things that happened within the game, they were good. Like, what he's just talking like a guy who, I don't know. He doesn't sound like he wants to be there anymore.
Let me ask you this. I think one of the overarching kind of themes of Giannis's career, member of the Bucks, has been no player wants to be the villain. But Giannis, some players like it, but I think they're a rarity, honestly. Yeah, right.
Definitely.
And certainly when it comes to agitating for change, agitating for movements, lots of players do it, but none of them want to be like, yeah, I did it. I was like, fire that guy, trade that guy, move me. I don't want to be here. Like, none of them come out and do that because, you know, there tends to be blowback when you do that. Giannis is being more outspoken now, but he's always wanted to be like kind of the good guy and say like, oh, I didn't have any say in have any say in Adrian Griffin going and Doc coming and all these other moves happening and Dame. Yes, I was complaining a lot before they made the Dame trade, but that wasn't me. Like, does he break with that now and become more outspoken? Because I do think that he's right at the limit of saying things you can pretend have no value in inspiring the front office to make changes that you want. Like, these are like just below the thresholds of like, yeah, he's basically making demands. Will he break with that and be just more outspoken in the changes he wants to see?
I think he will, because we've already seen it ramp up. When they start losing these games, you see him start to express some feelings, and I think that's what he has to do. But also, here's the thing: that's how Dame ended up in Milwaukee. Giannis was like, "Go get me Dame,
go get him,"
and it's not going great. When they got him, remember how excited we were, and we were talking about, man, if they don't make the finals, it's a bust.
Yeah,
if they don't make the final, like those became the expectations immediately, and it's just not working. Well, I don't like it.
I think part of the not working thing is, what were we excited about? We were excited about that Dame and Giannis pick and roll, which they only brought out like in dribs and drabs, and you never really got to see it get going. There was a few moments where it's like, oh my God, those guys combined for like 70-something points. At the same time, they're currently, 19th in the league in offense. I think if you have Dame and Giannis, forget the defense. I'm not saying forget it, obviously, but the defense there's a ceiling. There's going to be a physical ceiling on what it could be. That offense needs to be top 10 at least.
It needs to be going. Somebody show the Milwaukee Bucks an Indiana Pacers game. That's what they need to be doing.
Yes, that's what you go over there. Quick pace, get them up, get moving, get Giannis moving towards the basket, and it's got to be quicker. And that's a problem. The pace is like 9th in the league. Let's ramp that. Let's get that up higher, because you guys got to be going.
Yeah, they're stuck in the middle. All right, next trophy, the Dominic Toretto I Live My Life a Quarter Mile at a Time trophy, given out to whoever it is who made a short-term decision with no regard for future consequence. This week's winner, Philadelphia Inquirer reporter Marcus Hayes, for his column last week on Joel Embiid.
Oh, gosh.
Jason, will you explain the situation here?
Sure. Marcus Hayes wrote a column for the Philadelphia Inquirer that only people in Philadelphia read. It would have been a kind of story, but except for the fact that Marcus included references to the gist of the story was that Joel Embiid is not doing what he's should be doing with regards to the amount of games he's actually playing for the Sixers. And
a fair criticism,
but to make that argument, Hayes mentioned Joel Embiid's young son and
child.
his late younger brother, who the child is named after. And
that's where it got unfair.
And Joel Embiid responded how, listen, you can't be violent towards people. We understand that's a legal issue. But Joel Embiid responded in a way that I think many people would respond when the person writes a negative story that references your family. He was like, hey, man, what the fuck? And he apparently shoved Mr. Hayes, which must be terrifying when a 7-foot plus gigundo man like is yelling at you and pushes you. That must have been really scary.
It's different than getting yelled at by a 5'9" guy.
It's
for sure.
Very different. And the repercussions of that are ongoing. But Embiid apparently also said in the locker room, the next time you bring up my dead brother and my son again, you're going to see what I'm going to do to you, and I'm going to have to live with the consequences, which is like, wow, that is, Marcus Hayes better listen to that. And I'll just say this, man. When you write that, you're trying to become part of the story, in my eyes. Because, Marcus Hayes is not like a 22-year-old reporter. He's like in his 30s. Like, you understand what happens when you put in print people's family members in a story that's broadly negative. Like, just use your common sense. You understand this is going to happen. So I'm just like shocked that this story got printed anyway. And it was a bad decision, Shea. It was he scrubbed the offending pieces of the article, took out those references, which I think is obviously a acknowledgement that he was out of pocket there. But this is a bad decision, Shea.
Yeah, it was not a good idea. You don't do this. You can't do this. You shouldn't do this. It's very clear. Like, yes, you talk about Joel Embiid has missed a bunch of games.
He has.
And Embiid acknowledges, talk about that. I'm totally fine with you talking about that. You can say anything you want about me and basketball. I get it. But when you start bringing in these other pieces to try to make a point about basketball, it's no good. It's no good. And same as you, like, violence is it's not awesome. But if you do something like that, you got to expect to at least get shoved.
There's going to be a response.
Get shoved.
Come on.
There's going to be a response, and it's no good.
There is.
And it's just, I don't know. I was sad for Joel Embiid when this happened.
I feel bad for him.
Because he's otherwise such a pleasant seeming person, and to make him mad enough to do something like this, where he knows I'm going to get in trouble when I do this, but I got to do it. I can't not do it. You know what I mean?
I mean, I'm shocked that there's an editor that put that story out with those pieces in it. That's what's crazy. Like writers, we take shots all the time, and the editor is really there to save you from yourself and make sure everything's like all buttoned up and all the screws are tightened. But that's crazy to print that went out. And now, I mean, maybe this is what they wanted, the Philadelphia Inquirer, for everybody to be talking about this story because everybody's talking about it. Everybody's talking about it. The New York
Times just passed 11 million subscriptions. What do we got to do?
What do we got to do
to get some subscriptions down here in Philadelphia? I can't count how many times an editor saved me from accidentally getting myself fired.
Oh,
by like, hey, you sure you want to have this in here? Nah, you're right. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Next trophy, the Daniel Plainview. I've abandoned my child. I've abandoned my boy trophy, which is given out to someone who's giving up on something. This week's winner, Drake, who has abandoned his support of DeMar DeRozan. I'm giving up on that relationship.
Shea, as a New York Times bestselling author of multiple books, including books about rap.
Yes.
What is this story about? Update us about this story.
This story is one of my favorite things because it's converging basketball and rap, which are two perfect separate entities. And when you put them together, super perfect. You have Drake, the most famous Toronto Raptors fan. You have DeMar DeRozan, the most famous Toronto Raptor player ever. He has 1,000 records with the Toronto Raptors franchise. And when they were up there, when DeMar was in Toronto, him and Drake were very good, very close friends. DeMar even talked about after he got traded, he went to Drake's house And they sat there and talked about it. Drake wrote this wonderful thank you note to DeMar for Instagram after he got traded. They're buddies. They're good friends. And then Drake decided he was going to poke Kendrick Lamar in the eye. And so Kendrick Lamar decided, I'm going to cut your head off and your arms off and your legs off. That's what I'm going to do. And he just, he spent 2 months ruining Drake's life. And part of that included this song, Not Like Us.
Yes.
Which calls out mention to DeMar DeRozan because, he eventually left out of there. And
that's right.
So Kendrick says, I'm glad DeMar came home. Y'all didn't deserve him either. And then when they do the video for Not Like Us, who's in it? DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan.
Right there.
When Kendrick has his concert, who's up on stage? DeMar DeRozan. And so Drake is feeling betrayed. And he decided to call out DeMar DeRozan by name while he was getting interviewed. While Drake is getting interviewed during a game. They were talking about retiring jerseys and whatnot because we have Vince Carter, whose jersey just got retired as a Toronto Raptor. And he said, hey, listen, if y'all retired DeMar DeRozan's jersey, I'm going to climb up there and yank it down myself. Shout out Kyle, referring to Kyle Lowry. And so somebody mentioned that to DeMar DeRozan, and he was like, well, good luck. It's pretty high up there. You're going to have to climb really high to get it. Good luck. Whatever it is. This is just, Drake is, oh my God. He disappeared for a while after he got run off the court by Kendrick.
He had to take,
and here he is again.
Why is he at? Can I ask you something? I understand that he's got, obviously he's from Toronto. The Raptors are in Toronto. Obviously Drake and the Raptors have had a longstanding kind of creative and branding relationship where Drake was doing some branding stuff and ambassadorial work for the Cleveland Cavaliers. And
global ambassador.
And obviously he is, he's courtside at games often. He didn't play for the team. Why is he acting like he played for the team? I'm sorry. But DeMar DeRozan is one of the greatest Raptors ever. His numbers...
Probably the greatest.
He's probably the greatest. Probably the greatest. Him and Lowry. His number's going up. It's going.
Mm-hmm.
That number will be, it's 100%. And if it doesn't go up, the Raptors are a clown organization. They have to put that number up. It is going up.
And here's what's going to happen.
This is a crazy stance to take. I get it, but
it's going to go up and you're not going to take it down. You're saying a thing that you're not going to do.
You're not going to go up there and take it down.
You're not going to do.
That's really high up there.
It's so high.
And I understand that, listen, I've never had a number one coast-to-coast hit song that then goes on to have this larger cultural relevance and is played in almost every stadium except Toronto. I was watching the Cavs Bucks game last night, and they were playing in there. Obviously, they play it in Los Angeles.
They're going to play it at the Super Bowl.
They're going to play it at the Super Bowl. Obviously, I've never had a song of that magnitude written about me in which it references me being a pedophile, so I don't know how that feels. I would imagine feels not great. But DeMar's jersey's going up. It's going up, and there's nothing you can say about it. I will say there's a really funny moment where DeMar hits a shot, and it's apparent that Drake was mean mugging DeMar all throughout the game.
He's trying so hard
to just mean mug him.
He wanted so bad to be Tupac and above the rim.
That's
what he wanted to be.
And there's one point where DeMar hits a shot, and he's running down the court, and and Drake says something under his breath like fake motherfucker or something like that, and he says it so quietly that it's really funny.
You can watch a video.
Yeah, you can watch the video. He says it so quiet. It's like when you want to be a bad kid in school and you're like, yeah, I'm going to say something back to the teacher.
Yeah.
And you're just like, okay. What'd you say? Okay. Nothing. It was like that. It legitimately was like that.
The lip readers on the internet are saying what he said was "fuck out of here, pussy."
Okay.
But again, go watch the video, and he doesn't scream it. He says it from out of the corner of it, like a ventriloquist.
The very, very corner.
It sneaks out of there. This is such a bad idea.
It's just overall, I think, a bad look in general for Mr. Drake.
if nothing else, let's just ignore every single other part of this.
Yeah.
Every single other part of it. And let's just look at the pure, basic, raw piece of it, which is you're trying to start a fight with a 6'6" professional athlete.
It's not going to go.
It's not going to.
Why are you doing it?
What if he decides he's going to fight you? He's like, yeah, all right, we'll fight. That's not going to go great.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Just bad decision after bad decision after bad decision.
Just
Tough
lay
year
low.
for Drake.
Lay low for a little while. You know?
Just go be, go hang out with your $400 million or whatever you have. Like, just chill out.
Just chill
Look
out.
at this. Next trophy. The Chief Keef, that's that shit I don't like trophy. We'll just give it out to a player team who does something and we just don't like it. We don't like it. This week's winner, Grant Williams. His entire performance against the Celtics. What are you doing? Former Celtic Grant Williams is now the Drake of the NBA right now.
Now, the thing that has gone viral is his the hip check on JT going down the court.
On Jason Tatum. We came out as pro Tatum after the Netflix thing. We're pro Tatum now.
But if you watch that game, and I urge anybody who has League Pass and you should have the ability to run that game back, go watch it. Go watch Grant Williams. He's doing the fucking most.
Everything, all of the time. Poor Derek White is like, what is it? I'm just trying to inbound the ball. What are you doing? What are you doing?
The most. And not only doing the most, like on defense and trying to be like this pest and everywhere, but he's like also like at various points was trying to take over the game. Like he shoots this floater that like goes over the rim and hits like the far corner. Like it's one of the worst shots that's happened. Certainly in the NBA this year. And it's really funny to watch back because he is trying so hard to like be this fly in the ointment, the thing that like breaks this early Celtics run of greatness in this season and to just get some revenge. And none of it works. And it just looks really funny in retrospect. I feel bad for Grant. He just looks really silly doing this stuff.
So Grant is drafted by the Boston Celtics in 2019. Yeah. He plays there up until he gets traded. And then after he gets traded, the Celtics win the championship.
They do.
So I imagine, that you're feeling some sort of way about it. But you can't just hip check the star of the other team. You can't hip check Jason Tatum. You know what I mean?
And what about the Mavs? Yeah, it's like we're forgetting that he went to a whole nother team, and that team also traded him because, it certainly seems as if he was traded because guys just found him annoying, which appeared to be the same reason that he was traded from the Celtics. And now here he is in this game, just being annoying to the point that Draymond Green is out here calling him goofy. And I'm like, wait a second, do I agree with Draymond Green? I think I do.
And it's like, I think it would be one thing if this was Jaylen Brown and he got traded.
Yeah.
Then yes, I get it. You have to hip check Jason Tatum. Because if Jason Tatum wanted you there, you would be there. If Jason Tatum wanted Grant Williams in Boston, he would be there. But that doesn't. But you're not Jaylen Brown. You're the guy who, over the course of a couple of months, your entire Celtics career got like summed up into 3 different incidents. One of them, you're playing a game against the Cavs. You're at the free throw line.
Yes.
Game on the line. You tell Donovan Mitchell, I'm going to hit both of these shots and win the game. And then you miss both of them and lose the game. There's that. Then you're playing game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals against the Miami Heat. Your team is up by 9. You get into it with Jimmy Butler. And then Jimmy Butler decides, all right, I'm going to set you on fire in front of everybody. And then he takes over the game, just hitting shot after shot after shot, talking shit. There's that. And then there's the other one in between those two of Joel Embiid stepping on your head and smushing your face into the ground. Like that all happened in 2023 over the course of a couple of months. That's your Celtics career summed up. Sadly, it's unfair. It's an unfair assessment, but that's what people remember you for. And now here we are. What are you doing?
I think part of the Grant Williams thing is, we've all been around these people. It's like the person who you're part of the team, but you're trying to be too much of a part of the team, trying to take a leadership role on a project that's not your project, really. And if you're not Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum, then you need to take a back seat and not put your ideas in all the time. It's like what Zuri does in every meeting where he's just like talking over us and like constantly pitching his own
Williams
ideas
of 6 trophies.
and talking about all these things that we need to do. And it's like, dude, just relax. You're here. That's great, but just relax. And I think Grant just can't relax. Just relax, guy. It's fine.
Tough week for Zuri.
I know. As soon as I put this in, I knew I'd be compared to Grant Williams. I'm asking now if we can cut this out of the show, but we can talk about it later, I guess.
And I'll say but let me just say one thing about the foul that has been
One more
compared
thing.
to a
Go
football
for it.
foul and a Ray Lewis. Jaylen Brown said it was like watching Ray Lewis come across the middle. It wasn't that bad.
He could have killed him.
It was not that. It was definitely
that
like
bad.
a flagrant foul, and he definitely like bumped him down, but it was like stop it. They're making it like he came across the middle and like low blocked him into his it was not like that.
It wasn't the Joker sending Mr. Morris to the injured reserve for a few months. It wasn't that.
It wasn't that.
It wasn't that. Poor Grant Williams. Listen, I've changed my mind. I'm pro Grant Williams now.
Okay.
I'm rooting for Grant Williams. I see a lot of myself in him. Just a guy trying to get by. Just trying to get by. Next trophy. The Haley Joel Osment I See Dead People trophy. Given out to whoever it is, or the best comeback of the week. This week's winner, Buddy Hield.
Oh, Buddy.
He's good.
Oh,
Buddy
boy.
Hield is good.
Oh, boy.
The Golden State Warriors, you were just talking last week about how great it is that the Warriors aren't good anymore. And then surprise,
They're
surprise,
6-1.
bitch.
Surprise.
They're 6-1.
They're 6-1, and
They're
Buddy
really
Hield is putting on a shooting performance for the ages. So obviously Klay Thompson, after years of splashing around in that backcourt with Steph Curry, has moved on. He's now a Dallas Maverick. The Mavericks look really great as well. But the Warriors replaced his production with a guy, Buddy Hield, who has just become the first player in NBA history to make 27 or more threes over 6 games, over the first 6 games of the season. He's hitting 5 threes a game and shooting 51% from 3.
Come on.
And why is it a comeback? Because Buddy Hield had his first, in his first kind of playoff performances, real like getting his feet wet in the playoffs as a member of the Sixers, really struggled early. He came alive towards the end of the Knicks series, but struggled early, and he's not struggling now. He is.
No, he is not.
He is wet as water right now. It is going in all the time, and what a pickup for the Golden State Warriors.
The Warriors fans started calling him Splash Buddy, which is perfect. Just perfect. You lost a Splash Brother, you replaced him with a Splash Buddy. Hield, so he was drafted in 2016, and he's played more games than any other player from that same draft. Only Jaylen Brown has scored more points. Nobody has hit more 3-pointers. What a fun thing this is for the Buddy Hield sort of resurrection. Not that he needed it, but it's here. It's here, and he's playing great.
He's playing great. Curry healthy now. I pronounced the Warriors dead. Well, they're not, I don't think they're contender level. Okay. And they're getting a lot of, Steve Kerr is playing a huge rotation. Young guys are really coming to the fore now. He's giving players an opportunity to get into the mix, and there's some real athleticism there. Now with some of those young guys, they're not a contending team, but I don't want to play them on any given night. And certainly if Curry is healthy, that's a scary team. They look good. And this Buddy Hield heater is truly one for the ages. Shouts out to Pajemski. Shouts out to Moody. Shouts out to Kuminga. shout out to all these young guys making waves out here. Trace Jackson Davis, all of them. But like, this is a fun team. All of a sudden, the two paths, the old path and the young guy path thing is kind of working. Just when the old guys were getting really long in the tooth.
His career average is 15.6 points per game. And in Golden State, he's already scored 27 or more points 3 times.
That's
in
nuts.
just 6 games. Like, is this going to keep up all season? You certainly can't shoot 52% from the 3-point line all season, but maybe you can. You can, Jason.
Speaking of that young guys cracking the rotation, here's a crazy stat. Of the 16 Warriors players, 13 of them are averaging double-digit minutes per game.
Yes.
Gary Payton.
I love it.
Lindy Waters, Kyle Anderson, Looney, Melton, Moses Moody, Trace Jackson Davis, Kuminga, who of course was agitating for a larger role all last season and is certainly getting it. Wiggins, Buddy Hield, and Pajemski, who we thought of and who we thought would be there, and of course Curry and Green. This is a team that is searching for depth and finding it.
This is a fun team to watch play basketball.
They are.
You want to do the little trophies?
Let's do it.
Let's do the little trophies. These ones change each week and are situation specific. They're for the smaller storylines that we want to mention, but don't need to get all the way into. My first little trophy, the Andre 3000 Shake It Like a Polaroid Picture trophy. It goes to Pascal Siakam, who dressed like Andre 3000 in the Hey Ya video for Halloween. Here's the thing that I appreciate about Pascal Siakam. You were just talking about with regard to Grant Williams. If you're not the main guy, don't try to be the main guy.
Yeah.
Pascal Siakam knows exactly who he is. That's why the Toronto Raptors won a championship.
That's right.
When he was there. He knows exactly who he is. When he looked at this video in which Andre 3000 plays the members of a band, right? There's a piano player, there's a drummer, there's a guitar player, there's a singer, there's background singers, whatever. And they all have on different outfits. Mm-hmm. All the green color, but they're all different outfits. Go watch the video. Pascal Siakam didn't pick the lead singer. He picked the guitar player.
That's a great.
He picked the second guy, the third guy.
Call out.
That's he picked the second and the third guy. That's Pascal Siakam. That's how you win a championship, by knowing who you are.
I love it. I love that. My first little trophy is the Bruno Mars somewhere in Brooklyn trophy too. To the Detroit Pistons, who, because of the New York Marathon, had to take the subway to their game at Barclays versus the Nets, in which the improved Pistons rolled over the tanking Nets 106-92. Congratulations to the Pistons, who got to enjoy the best of New York City's mass transit.
My second little trophy, the Corey Feldman and Stand By Me 2 for Flinching trophy to Rudy Gobert, who, after Christian Brown dunked him through the ozone, he shoved Christian Brown. He was like, fuck, like Christian Brown is in his face screaming, which you absolutely should do if you dunk massively on the 4-time defensive player of the year.
Not the first time also that he's dunked on Rudy.
Let him hear about it.
Let him know.
So Christian Brown goes nuts, screaming in his face, dead in his face. Nobody respects Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert does what you're supposed to do there, discards him, shoves him away, get off of me, shut up. And then here comes Russell Westbrook running full speed at him from out on the perimeter. And Rudy Gobert catches a glimpse of Russ running at him and just turns. It's like he saw a rhinoceros running at him. He looks so scared.
He does. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of there's a famous like animal attack video that's been on the internet for a while. It's these guys, they appear to be somewhere in the Indian subcontinent. They're like on the backs of elephants, and they're looking for a tiger that's like in this high grass, and all of a sudden the tiger leaps like from 30 feet away out of the high grass and just comes like roaring out of the grass.
Oh my God.
Springing at the guy. And it was like that. Honestly, like if you don't flinch, you're not a human being, because that Russ was coming with power. Like he was raging. And like Gobert was like, oh, not to mention, like, let's just say this. I would imagine if I'm Rudy Gobert and memories of being attacked from behind are very fresh in my memory. Like if I hear somebody like running towards me on the blind side, I'm going to flinch too, to be fair.
He looks so scared.
He did look
You're 7 feet tall, Rudy.
Come on,
You're
Rudy.
7 feet tall.
Yeah.
You're fine.
My next little trophy is the Young Thug. Let's go off the dome. I can't make it home. I bleeped her. I boned her. She leave an aroma. Trophy 2 to James Harden for getting the Clippers their first win in the dome, the Intuit Dome. And in a clip that is currently circulating on social media, playing lockdown defense, which, listen, he has 3 steals in the possession. He gambled 3 times and he won 3 times. Okay.
He's just swiping away.
He's just swiping
away.
He gambled 3 times and he won 3 times, and shouts to him, but it's a great clip, and the Clippers get their first home win, and shouts to them, great win.
My last little trophy. The cameraman and Twisters. We got twins! Twins! Trophy to Ja Morant, who did 2 spinning 360 layups against the Nets. 2, Jason, twins.
Wow.
2 times he did it. Jump in the air, do a 360, and then lay it up. 1 time, cool. They do it twice, Jason. Somebody's got to punch Ja Morant.
My last little trophy is the Luther in the Warriors. There he is! That's him! That's the Warrior! Trophy 2 to Jordan Poole for hitting a 3 in Draymond Green's face and then pointing at him as he ran down the court in what would eventually be a loss to the Warriors. Draymond got him back later when Steph hit a 3 on Poole, and then Draymond pointed at Poole. Yada, yada, yada. It was a wonderful, petty moment that I enjoyed very much because I watched too much Wizards basketball.
We did it again, Jason.
We did it again.
Another perfect episode. I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. I'm so happy that we did it again. We close every episode just by saying the names of underappreciated old basketball players with no context at all. None. No context whatsoever. While the theme music carries us out. Zuri, will you play the theme music, please? I'm Shea Serrano. That's Jason Concepcion. Producer Zuri in the shadows making the noises. See y'all next week. I'm not doing players, Jason. I'm doing gambling movies.
Oh!
Rounders. I'm going to just start with Rounders since we mentioned it.
I'm doing NBA players with the same last name as a president. This is election day. Norm Nixon, Lakers legend. Clippers legend, Norm Nixon.
Uncut Gems.
Uncle Jabs. George Washington, Nuggets, ABA Nuggets legend. George Washington.
The Color of Money.
Ooh.
Some good Tom Cruise and Paul Newman. Maria Mastrantonio.
The Pearl Monroe, Baltimore Bullets legend, New York Knicks champion and legend.
How about the precursor to The Color of Money? The Hustler.